Are you a software developer who wants to become the go to person in your team? If that is you, then C programming language is the thing that you must learn. Whatever may be the programming language that you use for your work, that doesn't matter. But you might be well off learning the C programming language as a complementary thing. Let's see why. C provides you with superpowers that other languages doesn't provide. The number one superpower that C provides is pointers. Have you heard this term? You might have. With this superpower, you will feel like you are in complete control of the program that you have written and executing. A pointer is just a variable that can hold an address, a memory address. But this small, simple variable can open up a whole new world of opportunities and possibilities. If you know the address of a person, you can do something with him. If you don't know the address of a person, you can't even reach him, right? The same way, pointer can store the address of literally anything, not the physical address. It is the memory address. It can point to a variable, another variable, by storing its address. It can point to a multi-dimensional array, a 3 by 4 by 5 array. With a single pointer, you will be able to manipulate everything within that multi-dimensional array. It can point to a particular node deep down a tree. It can point to a function. That sounds interesting, right? You can do things with functions. It can even point to an array of functions. You can actually calculate which function to call at which time just using arithmetic. How fun it will be. It can point to something in the static memory. It can point to something the dynamic memory, that is the heap. It can point even to a line of code within a function. Above all, it can even point to a part of the line of code that can be translated to an assembly language instruction. When you start using C, you will start to interact and engage with memory allocation. It doesn't provide a garbage collector. You have to create and free up the memory. So you will learn memory allocation. You will start understanding data representation, how an integer is represented in memory, how a floating point number or a double is represented in memory. Those are very interesting things. It can hold a very huge number or very small number, which is so minute. That can be understood when you start exploring C. You will start to understand how a data, a variable is stored in memory, how it is aligned in memory, the memory alignment to fetch that particular data faster, that you will learn. When you dive a little deeper into C programming, you will start exploring computer architecture as well with the language. You will definitely understand the compilation process thoroughly because most of the steps are needed for a C programmer. And even you might understand and get a sense of hacking. Yes, you heard that right. Recently, I was watching a lecture video by a Carnegie Mellon University professor who is also the author of Computer Systems, a Programmer's Perspective. He was showing a glimpse of how the systems are getting hacked. Not using a tool or something, a real hacker who doesn't use his tools. He finds out vulnerabilities and attacks them. Maybe I can show you a small peek into it. As I told you, when you learn C programming, you will start understanding the memory layout, right? So there are four segments in memory for a program execution point of view. The segment, one of the segment is called stack segment. Whichever language you use, it's there, but you might be aware, you might be unaware. That is not a problem. Whenever you call a function, a stack frame is created on the stack. That's nothing but the stack pointer moves a bit and allocates more memory, creates more space for a stack frame. A stack frame is nothing but here there is a function fun. It calls a function more fun. Yes, C is more fun. And when this function call happens, a stack frame is created. A stack frame is allocated. It has space for the arguments of this function. It will have a space for storing the return address. The return address means which line it has to return to once it executes this particular function. That is the return address. That is stored here. Then there is space for local variables. Here, for example, we have more fun function which has a character array of size 4. If you can't see it clearly, then it calls the scanf, which is nothing but getting input from the user for that particular string. That is the character array. String, yes, can hold only 4 characters, but C doesn't bounce check. It doesn't prevent you from entering a bigger string. So what happens when you enter a bigger string? It doesn't truncate it. What it will do is, consider this is the space where the 4 bytes are there. So it will write the 4 bytes on its place. Then it will overwrite the remaining local variables. If you give a very long string, it will overwrite and reach the return address. It will overwrite even that, and it can even overwrite the arguments and go further. This is called corrupting the stack. It can be done in C. It won't give any errors because there is no bounce checking in C. Since all the foundational softwares are written in C, there are vulnerabilities like this which can be attacked. Why I call this as a vulnerability is, one thing is, if you are a user who wants to crash this particular application, then you can give a long string which will override this return address. When the function finishes, when it tries to return to the next line of the caller, it will have a weird address which is not actually a line of code's address, so it will crash. How can this be used for hacking? Let me tell you. When the user enters the string, if he is a hacker and is a knowledgeable person, he can enter the string with some executable binary in it. The string itself is containing some executable binary. That kind of executable binary he can write, overwrite this local variables and then reach this return address. At that part where it will overwrite the return address, he can give the address of the same string that he has given as input. It will correct everything. The return address is overwritten with the address of his own string. When the function more fun hits the return, what will happen? It will check the return address and go to that return address and start executing from there. When it start executing from his own string, what is his string? It is nothing but some executable code that can do some random things that he wants. He can attack something. He can even probably create a network connection and give the control to the hacker. This is what I have seen recently in a lecture. You might learn hacking, but you will not understand the crux of what is happening during the hacking without understanding these kinds of foundational programming languages like C. This is only possible for a person with a good understanding of pointers, a clear understanding of the memory layout, and an excellent understanding of program execution. You might have certain doubts how he is able to find the address. That is because these might be code that are open source. So he can see the code, he can understand how much distance from this particular string input it has to reach that particular return address storing area in memory. And also, he might have a sense of which type of system, OS, and architecture this particular program is executing. So he will most probably understand the address of the stack frame where his string is there. So that is currently there are new techniques which avoids these, but there are still possibilities. There are other possibilities with which a person can hack something, but that's for another day. With these kinds of knowledge that you have seen now and similar, there are many other interesting things that you will learn with C language. When you get this type of knowledge, you will get a pair of X-ray eyes which can see through things and understand, and you will be able to explain the unexplainable bugs that your peers cannot if they are not into C programming. But you will be able to find out the bugs, you will be able to explain the unexplainable behaviors of your programs in your own favorite language by developing an understanding of C language. Next thing, C provides the foundation for all modern computing. Are you currently thinking C is an outdated programming language? Who on earth is using C in this day and age? Sorry, you are mistaken. All the foundational softwares that are essential for our living today are written in C. You take operating systems, Linux or Windows, most of the operating systems are written in C. Take databases, MySQL and other databases, most of them are written in C. What is your favorite programming language? I am more or less sure that your language compiler or interpreter is written in C. All the electronic devices you use have embedded code in it, embedded C code. Your IoT devices, your Alexas, are all powered by C. You are seeing this video with internet, right? Internet is powered by the protocols. the most common TCP/IP protocol, most of its implementations are C implementations. Your web servers like Apache, Nginx are written in mostly in C. You can't even use a mouse or a keyboard, USB mouse or a keyboard, which needs device drivers, which are written in C. The file systems are written in C. Git that you use in your work is written in C. What not is written in C. Everything is built upon C. If you are someone who wants to avoid C, you will go back 40 to 50 years of technological advancements and innovations. Whatever fancy applications that you are using currently runs on the strong foundation built by C based applications and softwares. If you are thinking about the job opportunities, if you are thinking about learning only C language and you are afraid, oh, I won't get any jobs in C, you won't get normal jobs, but you will work on the foundational stuff which powers technology of today. And there are normal jobs also for a C programmer. Never mind becoming a C programmer. That's not the intention of this video. You can become a better programmer if you learn C as an additional language. One of the most powerful things that C provides is it provides nothing. It's not a joke, it provides nothing. It is a very small language. You can learn it very fast. It doesn't provide all the fancy features that the modern programming languages provide. It doesn't provide garbage collector. You have to allocate its own memory. It doesn't even provide any data structure and algorithm libraries. You have to build your own libraries painstakingly. When you feel the pain and build everything from scratch, you will never forget it. Compare that with a modern programming language like Python that gives all the features to you on a silver platter. When you do things in C and understand the things that has gone into this level of simplicity that Python provides or Java provides, you will start to appreciate what you are given with and you will not take things for granted. Even if C is not the only language that you know, it should be one of the languages you know. I hope by now you are convinced that C is the best programming language for understanding computers and learning computer science at a very deep level. This can make you a better programmer in your own programming language. That is the point. And I hope you will start learning the C programming language and get the superpowers that C provides and enjoy writing code with your favorite programming language. Hey friend, are you still watching the video? Then I would like to give you a gift. I have created a free guide that breaks down the most common data structure and algorithm patterns. Instead of telling you how an algorithm works, this guide tells you when to use it. Do you find yourself wondering which data structure or algorithm to use in a particular situation? Then this guide is definitely for you. Grab the guide by clicking the link in the description. Until we meet the next time, this is Shivakumar aka Algo Shiva signing off. Bye.